You have never had to think about whether to eat something that smells rotten. Your body already decided. Before your brain could weigh in, before any conscious thought formed, something inside you had already made the call. That is disgust. And it is not an emotion. Not exactly. It is something older than emotion. Something faster. Something that has been running quietly in the background of your life every single day, making decisions you never knew you were making. Most people think of disgust as a reaction, something that happens to you when you encounter something unpleasant. A bad smell, a strange texture, something you would rather not look at. But that description barely scratches the surface of what disgust actually is, or what it actually does. Psychologist Paul Rozin at the University of Pennsylvania has spent decades studying disgust, and what his research reveals is that it is one of the most sophisticated protective systems in the entire human body. Not a feeling, a system, one that operates on rules, has its own logic, and influences decisions you would swear you made entirely on your own. Disgust evolved to solve a specific problem. Your ancestors lived in a world where the wrong meal could kill them. Spoiled meat, contaminated water, a carcass carrying disease. There were no labels, no expiration dates, no health inspectors. There was only the body, and the body needed a fast, reliable way to detect danger before it entered the mouth. Disgust was the solution. A system wired directly into your senses, smell, sight, texture, taste, that could fire in milliseconds, long before any rational evaluation was possible. It did not need evidence. It did not need certainty. It just needed a signal. And when the signal came, it produced one of the most powerful motivating states in human experience, the urge to get away, to spit out, to recoil, to not touch. No thinking required. This is what makes disgust genuinely extraordinary. Most emotions need context. Fear needs a threat. Sadness needs a loss. Anger needs a perceived wrong. But disgust can fire with almost no information at all. You do not need to know what something is to be disgusted by it. The reaction can come from a shape, a color, a sound, a description. Rozin found that even imagining contact with a disgusting object without seeing it, without touching it, without any physical exposure whatsoever, produces the same physiological response as actual contact. Your heart rate changes, your face contorts, your stomach turns. The body does not wait for confirmation. It acts on the possibility of contamination, not the certainty of it. And here's where it gets genuinely strange. Disgust does not stay in its lane. It was built for food, but it spread. And the way it spread reveals something remarkable about the structure of your mind. Researcher Jonathan Haidt at New York University has shown that disgust migrated from its original food detection function into social and moral territory. The same system that tells you not to eat spoiled meat is the same system that fires when you witness a moral violation, when you see someone cheat, when you hear about cruelty, when something feels deeply wrong even though you cannot articulate why. The emotion that rises in those moments is not just disapproval, it is disgust. The same disgust, running on the same neural architecture, using the same logic it learned in a world where the danger was on your plate. Haidt calls this moral disgust, and it operates on the same core principle as food disgust, contamination. Just as you would not eat food that had touched something rotten, moral disgust tells you that a person who has done something deeply wrong is contaminated in a way that cannot be easily cleaned. This is not a metaphor. It is a cognitive mechanism, one that shapes who you trust, who you exclude, who you consider safe, and who you consider threatening. And it runs almost entirely outside your conscious awareness. Think about the last time you had a strong gut reaction to a person. Not a specific behavior, not a reasoned judgment, just a feeling that something was off. That reaction almost certainly had disgust in it. Your body was running its ancient contamination detection software on social information, scanning for signals of threat in someone's behavior, their hygiene, their moral choices, and then presenting you with a verdict, safe or unsafe, before your conscious mind had time to ask a single question. This is what Rozin means when he talks about disgust being more reflex than emotion. It does not consult you. It does not wait for your opinion. It delivers a judgment and then leaves you to rationalize it. which is exactly what most people do. They feel the disgust, and then they construct a reason for it after the fact. The judgment came first. The reasoning came second. And in most cases, neither you nor anyone else would ever know the difference. But here's what makes this more than just interesting. Here is why it matters. Disgust is not always right. The system that evolved to protect your ancestors from contaminated food is the same system making social and moral judgments in the 21st century. And it is making those judgments using criteria that have nothing to do with actual danger. Research by Rozin and others has consistently shown that disgust is heavily influenced by culture, by habit, by familiarity. Things that feel deeply disgusting in one culture are perfectly normal in another. The disgust itself feels objective. It feels like a perception of reality, but it is not. It is a filtered signal shaped by everything you have been exposed to, processed by a system that was never designed for the complexity of modern social life. Researcher Bunmi Olatunji at Vanderbilt University has documented how individual differences in disgust sensitivity predict a remarkable range of behaviors and attitudes, from food choices and hygiene habits to political beliefs and reactions to outgroups. People who are more easily disgusted tend to be more socially conservative, more concerned with purity, more likely to perceive moral violations in ambiguous situations. Not because disgust causes those beliefs, but because the same underlying sensitivity runs through all of them. The same dial, just turned up higher in some people than others. What this means is that disgust is not just a system for keeping bad food out of your mouth. It is one of the primary lenses through which you perceive the social world. It tells you who is like you and who is not, who follows the rules and who violates them, who is clean and who is contaminated. And it delivers all of that information in a format that feels like truth. Not opinion, not preference. Truth. Your ancestors needed that certainty. In a world where hesitation could mean death, a fast and confident signal was better than a slow and accurate one. But you do not live in that world. You live in a world where the signals are ambiguous, where the threats are complex, where the people your disgust system flags as contaminated are often just different. And yet the system runs exactly as it always has. Confident, fast, invisible, presenting its verdicts as facts, and leaving you to live with the consequences. Tonight, next time something makes your stomach turn, and it will. Notice what happens in the half second before any thought arrives. That turn of the stomach, that subtle recoil, that is not your judgment. That is 400 million years of biological engineering, doing exactly what it was built to do. The question is whether you let it do your thinking for you, because your brain is smart. But disgust was here first.